What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Pulse 22. So this video has been a long time in the making. I've had my hands on the Pulse 22 by Vandy Vape for quite some time, but as you noticed in the Fresh Build Friday video where I built on this thing for the first time on camera, probably not the best idea for me personally because I'm not much of a squonker. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. This has kind of been my reintroduction to the world of modern day 2017 squonking. The last time I checked out squonking was probably the days of the Rio box way back, probably 4 or 5 years ago. But this is kind of modern squonking. I got myself a custom creation stomp box for this device here, and that's what I've been using it on lately. So I kind of wanted to get to know this device a bit better for you guys and get the details all ironed out before I make my final decisions on it. So before we get into this video, I do have to state my intent by saying that I did receive this product for free from the manufacturer for the purpose of doing this video. However, it has no monetary value to me, which means my opinions on it will remain honest and unbiased, of course, as always. With that being said, I would like to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people over at Vandy Vape for sending this thing along my way to take a look at for you guys out there. So taking a look online, the Pulse 22 comes in 6 different color options. You can get it in black, stainless, red, blue, rainbow, and gold. And the colored options are kind of a recent addition to the Pulse family because originally I remember they came out with just the stainless as I have here and black. And a couple weeks after that, they released the colored versions, which I think is great because with all these 3D printed and completely custom squonk boxes that are coming out nowadays, you can definitely match it with a Pulse 22. So the price point on the Pulse 22 is 25 bucks online, which I think is a bargain. That's an absolute steal at that price because I remember a couple of years ago, you could not find anything for $25 that wasn't a clone. So with this here, Vandy Vape is offering a great product at a wonderful price at $25. And if you guys want to pick one up for yourself, I'll leave links down there in the description. So let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. All right, guys, so as you can see here, we've got the Pulse 22 in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging, and then we'll take a look at what's inside. So, Vandy Vape, Pulse 22, a Tony B project, some specs, a diagram of the airflow, BF-RDA, and this nice little beveled kind of EKG thing going on, which is cool. Spot varnish Vandy Vape logos. We've got a UPC and a little authentication thing there. On this side, we have the company information, boring, and some more specs and diagrams on the back. So let's pop this thing open here and see what we get. We have obviously the Pulse itself and the extra drip tip that it comes with. Pretty nice little wide bore mouthpiece. There you can see the bore on that, nice and wide, very similar to kind of the original Kennedy tips. Pretty plain little Delrin tip, no big deal there. And the Pulse itself, which we'll be taking a look at in just a second. So in the bottom of the box comes this little bag of parts, which contains a whole set of O-rings, a 510 drip tip adapter, 2 full sets of replacement screws, and this little kind of thing to build on, which is kind of cool. So if you don't have anything to wrap your coils around, there you go. They threw something right there in the box. So here is the Pulse itself. Let's go over some of the details. So it is 22 millimeters in diameter, and hopefully you guys can see the little Tony B project inscription on the bottom, which is kind of cool. 24 karat gold plated deck screws and 510 pin, and they use peak insulators throughout this device, which are of course the utmost quality. Comes with this Ultem wide bore drip tip there. You can see right down the chimney section. It has 2 airflow holes per side, which are of course fully adjustable. You could just turn it like that if you want just 1 airflow hole or half an airflow hole or whatever you want, anything in between as well. So there you go, there's that. It comes apart in several different sections here. You have the airflow section, which you can see the little chimneys, the little tubes that go down, another little Tony B right there on this little piece right there above the airflow holes. And then let's just go ahead and mount it on our stomp box real quick so that we can get this section off real quick for you guys. So here is the gold plated build deck, and you can kind of see the little channels on either side there where the juice goes and your wicking material goes. You can see the post holes on top here. I believe those are 2.5 millimeter post holes. On the side you can see the screws, which are just regular Phillips headed screws, nothing too fancy there, but they are gold plated. And you can see the dual O-rings, which keep the top cap nice and secure, but also these little notches here at the side keep your airflow section aligned with the coil properly and locked into place, which is kind of a nice touch there. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys in this little close-up section. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. So starting it off today with the pros, my first pro is the build deck is solid. It is gorgeous, it is well thought out, it is well put together, and I think it's definitely something to behold. I really like the fact that there's kind of two separate little pools for the wicks to sit in, so that way each wick gets an equal amount of liquid, and when the dripper bottle on your squonker actually sucks the juice back into itself, it actually siphons from both sides equally. That way you're not left with a puddle on one side and a dry wick on the other. So that is something that is really, really well thought out in my opinion, and I absolutely love it. My second pro today is this thing has tons of airflow, plenty of airflow to go around and then some. I'm working with a single air hole per side right now, and that is plenty enough for me personally. So if anyone says this thing has a tight restricted draw, they are absolutely lying to you. My third pro today is that this thing is virtually leak-proof. You'd have to work pretty darn hard to get this thing to leak on you. First of all, it's a squonker. So yeah, the bottle of juice at the bottom of your squonk box should be siphoning the juice back into itself, but if there's any leftovers, it has a 7mm deep juice well, which can hold a whole heck of a lot of juice. Then you have the section on top where it has angled airflow holes top down, which means the juice would have to flow up pretty darn far in order to be able to get out of this thing. So all that put together makes this thing pretty much impossible to leak. And my fourth and final pro for this device is it's Kennedy and Goon tip compatible. Yes! Thank you Vandy Vape for pretty much setting the precedence for other companies as far as making your devices cross-compatible with other people's accessories. Personally, I like giving a little bit of flavor on there with my own kind of colorful tips and this and that. And you know, it's just something that you don't see all too often with other companies out there. And so far, Vandy Vape is doing it almost across their entire device line. So thank you so much, Vandy Vape. They even give you a couple of really cool tips right in the box. Alright guys, so moving on to some cons. My first con today is going to be a bit of a controversial one, I feel like, because at least for me, this thing is a little bit too difficult to build straight out of the box. Now, you guys watched my Fresh Build Friday video where I totally screwed up a build on this thing. I didn't watch Tony Britton's video on it before I went at it and tried to build it myself on camera, so with that, I totally screwed it up and didn't align my coil with the two little notches that are in the deck, and I had no idea that the top cap was actually supposed to sit in those notches. So with that, I really feel like there should be a bit more information in the actual box itself. There's no quick start guide or anything like that. I think something that would be really cool would be maybe a flip top box design with a big old QR code right on the inside that you can scan and it'll take you to Tony Britton's video on the Pulse 22, but hey, maybe that's just me. My second con today is that you're limited to a single coil build. Now, before you go start writing your hate comments in the box below, I understand that you can potentially do a dual coil, and I even mentioned it in my Fresh Build Friday video that I was going to attempt a dual coil at some point in the future on this thing. However, you can tell by the design of it, it was meant to be used as a single coil device. So with that, for the people that don't know how to build really fancy coils, you're going to be very limited as far as options. And my third con today is that it's only 22mm in diameter, and that to me just kind of doesn't really look or fit right on anything that I own. I mean, even on this Custom Creations stomp box, it just kind of looks a little bit weird and tiny. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I have heard that the 24mm version is on its way out, so that's going to be something that I would be a little bit more interested in, but as far as this 22 version, really not for me. And my fourth and final con for this device is I get a bit of a muted flavor out of it. I don't know exactly why or what I'm doing wrong, but I've tried all the different exotic wire types I can think of and a whole bunch of different building styles, and nothing really seems to work for me personally. I have heard if you lift the coil way up above the airflow, it seems to help it out a little bit, and I'm gonna have to try that, but you know, for some reason, with all the different wire types, I still get a little bit of that muted flavor. For some reason, I can't really figure it out. So at the end of the day, would I go out of my way to purchase one of these if I didn't get this thing for a review? And my answer would be, no, probably not. And the reason behind that is because I'm not much of a squonker. I actually had to go out and buy a squonk box just to do this review. So as far as that goes, I'd probably really not be interested in something like this for me personally. However, maybe with a little bit more time, it'll start to grow on me and I'll figure out some pretty cool builds for this thing or something like that. And next thing you know, I'll be squonking left, right, and center. Would I recommend this product to you guys out there? Absolutely. Yeah, I would still definitely recommend you try out the Pulse 22. It seems to me like a very, very well-built little RDA, a bottom flow RDA, and for the price, you cannot beat it. So definitely take a look at the Pulse 22 for yourself. I'll have links down there in the description below if you want to pick one of these things up. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, make sure you leave your comments down there in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about this Pulse 22 RDA or anything else you guys want to talk about. Also, check out the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the box below. You can also pick yourself up a Daily Vape TV t-shirt. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on! Squonk.